we're in Dallas at my family's house. I grew up on this carpet.
Oh my
I was
God.
raised on this carpet. I played. It's like the wax museum. I played that piano.
I think you should go play it right now.
When I
Nope. I think you should go play that piano right now.
When I
Beck, I'm not moving
was
off that.
telling the time.
Beck.
I was telling you off of that.
Okay, so what time
I am
does the
not-
clock say?
I am not playing
What
the
time
piano.
does the clock say?
I'm not playing the piano.
Yeah, come on,
You're
go play.
like time to play the piano, bud.
Yeah, exactly. Go.
No, I am not going to play the piano.
You brought it up.
But when I came in through the front door, it was through that front door.
Okay,
How
so
do y'all
you
feel?
know what? So
It's impressive.
last night at Atlanta,
Yeah.
Guillaume had a wonderful statement. He really provided some amazing advice to a young woman.
Okay.
He said, "Show, don't tell."
So
So stop telling us.
This is the door I
that's
walk
telling
through.
you. Show us how you played the
I'm
piano.
not playing piano.
But show us.
No way. No way.
We need to move on then.
No way.
I'm not having fun anymore.
I quit.
I'm not having fun. What if you sat outside and called an Uber back to Denver?
It wouldn't surprise me. All right, let's get on now. Let's get moving on. Beck's winning everything.
Okay, how do we make a hook? So the topic is why relationship sellers will become obsolete.
And hugging and kissing and being
Yeah,
nice
so-
and sending fruit.
So
whatever.
I never had any boyfriends growing up. So this is a great topic.
There's a common theme here with this.
This is when I didn't get called by guys in my grade. It was in that room that I got to see you
Are
call.
you getting called by guys now?
No.
Well, some things have changed.
All the guys at work, they want to talk to me about templates at 11 p.m. My dad's like, hell yeah, that's my daughter.
I know, he's right, big man. No guy's calling, he's doing it good.
So relationship sellers, why they'll become obsolete, why aiming to be, or I think we're going to be a split jury on this. Is it a good idea to aim to be likable, a good person, empathetic, all of that, as an MO, and is selling based on relationships? Is that a good idea? And if so, why so? And if not, why not? Which one of you want to start?
Guillaume,
Yeah,
did I do a good job?
you start. Yeah.
I think it really depends at which stage of the buying process or buying journey we're talking about.
Yeah.
Because the first step is to build the trust. And for me, not being likable, not being kind, not caring about the person will never allow you to build trust.
Right.
So being kind, trying to be empathetic, understanding the problem, understanding the person, I think it's really like the first step of any relationship that you want to build with
So you
potential
trust them.
seller. But after that, I agree with what you're saying. I feel like whenever you have this pushy salesman who are like really smiling with and being
Yeah.
like, hey, welcome. And then, as soon as you've closed the door, you're like, hey, like we fucked them well.
Yeah.
This, I think it
They're
doesn't
like,
work.
"Booyah."
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I think it doesn't work when we look at the Wolf of Wall Street, where they're doing
Yeah.
like a cold call and they're closing all these like poor people, etc., just
Yeah.
to make them sign a deal. And after that, they're like, okay, it's just one other number. I think this will not exist
Yeah.
anymore. But I do feel like, to me, being kind and being empathetic should be part of
course.
any
Yeah.
characteristic of a seller, because you should care enough about a certain problem to be able to solve it. And for that, you need to care about the people who are experiencing the problem.
Yeah. Okay, so you're saying that it's basically without it, you can't even start a relationship.
That's my feeling, yeah.
Yeah. It's a good take. What about you? On your side.
I agree, except with the likability piece. So, and
Like,
what
I
I want
want
to
y'all to
add,
be able to talk to each other.
what I want to add to what I can say,
Yeah.
what I want to add to that is it's you have to be empathetic, and you have to care, but the piece we're missing is to be authentic, right? So if you're your authentic self and you authentically care and you authentically want to help,
Yeah.
then you shouldn't have to worry about being
it
liked.
being likable.
So there's already enough evidence that has been proven that those who try to be liked or want to be liked underperform those who don't care about being liked.
Yeah.
Because those who don't care aren't afraid to challenge, push, question,
Yeah.
etc. So I use in my training the metaphor a lot. You remember remember when you're dating and you meet someone for the very first time? Those first.
No, but I'll go with
true.
you.
You don't know. But Guillaume.
And theoretically, I
all
do.
those women you met just this week.
I read about it, though.
Yeah,
I
yes.
read about it.
But you did tell me you had a boyfriend once, so you'll remember this back about 20 years ago.
20 years.
But on those in that first month and a half,
Yeah.
we don't say anything to them that might be controversial.
Totally.
We don't tell them our opinion if they upset us. We don't say, "Oh, I didn't like that."
You're scared,
because
too.
you're scared that they won't like you. And so what we do is we actually change our behavior out of the fear of not being liked. So my answer is people should not be selling to try to be liked because it actually undermines the ability to sell. Be your authentic self and be authentically committed to helping them in empathy. And you may or may not be liked, but you will be trusted and respected.
That's a great point. So your take is
Mark that. She said I did something
your take is that it's without it you can't start a relationship. Your take is that it's you agree, but it could prevent us from challenging someone, which is a very vital.
If your goal is to be liked.
Yeah, I think you're both right. You're both right. What I'd add to it is the problem that I have with it is when it's a strategy, like it's a relationship seller, meaning that's their whole goal is to build a relationship, and to make the person like them, to make the person feel good, so that they're using that as a strategy as a way to sell. Now, I agree with you that that's table stakes, like meaning someone can't, obviously, like I wouldn't want to deal with someone necessarily. Now, I still might do it if the value is there. It wouldn't matter to me if I liked them or not. Like I've got to buy a bottle of water in the desert, I'm dying of thirst. But I remember this moment where I was oddly enough in downtown Dallas, and I had just walked in and I had closed this guy. His name was Alan, and he had just signed a big contract, and I could tell he just genuinely, and I was taught to relationship sell. And we had a good relationship. He liked me, I liked him, and he had just signed. And I walked out, and I just remember looking at this guy. It was like 4 p.m. And I thought in my head, I want to quit. I want to quit selling because it just felt gross.
Disingenuous.
Yes, because I was like, I like him. He likes me, but I'm getting the benefit and the upside of him buying based on him liking me,
Question about this, like, did you believe in what you were selling?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. But my fear was, even if I didn't, and even if I believe something to be true, if I don't know how this person can use it in specific, it doesn't matter whether I believe. Like I didn't understand problem. I didn't understand. I didn't understand pain. I didn't understand any of those concepts. So like net, it wasn't necessarily a bad purchase, and I believed in the product that I was selling, that it was a good product. But it felt slimy because that was kind of the way I was selling. Like I walk in, I pattern interrupt. You see me as a real person. I'm different than other people, and you buy because of it. And buying based on that premise, even if it did them favors, made me feel at my core like I would hang out with you outside of this. You're a really nice person. And so it felt like, to me, I thought sales isn't the profession for me. And I struggled with that for a very long time because I thought that was the role kind of thing. And I think that there are a lot of people who are in that same vein. And I've seen it take on a lot of different forms. I'm going to say this and then pass the metaphorical mic. But I see flushing out in the market of like, you need to be empathetic, you need to be human, you need to be a real person, you need to be kind, you need to be all these things, you need to send them gifts, when their baby's sick, you need to send them something that, help, like, some baby wipes or like whatever. During the pandemic, I saw that a lot. And I'm like, I agree with all of that. But the problem that I have is that you're mentioning this in the context of sales strategy. That's what worries me. So you're not saying it in general. You're mentioning in terms of strategically, how do I sell?
So empathy, yes, it should be strategically how you sell.
Yeah, based on understanding.
You keep throwing these things up. When you got to the send them gifts, then I was with you.
Totally.
So you empathetically need to be
Likability.
specific. You have to do that. Likability, you don't have to have. Empathy, you do. What was the other one? You said a couple of these.
Rapport.
No, you don't have to have that.
Yeah. So rapport, trust, likability, being human, being a real
yes,
person.
Yes, you have to do that. So you should legitimately and intentionally be real human. You should intentionally be empathetic. Though there was one other one. Do you remember what it was?
Being a real person, being human, being kind.
Intentionally be kind.
Yeah.
So those three you have to be intentional. 100% intentional. After that, you don't have to be send them gifts. You don't have to be likable.
Yeah.
You don't want to intend to be those things.
Well, and here's the other problem I have with it is most people, they define trust as, oh, well, I trust that you're telling the truth. And I'm like, that's half of it. The other half of trust from a definition perspective is you have a firm belief in their ability. That's the piece that I don't hear people talking enough about, is the ability to diagnose. Is they're like, you should be a real person. And I'm like, I agree with you, but like, you know, I'm just thinking of my sister in the ER, and like, yes, it's really nice when someone's like kind. Yes, it's really, like all of that is table stakes, from my opinion. Like, to be able to want to do the right things and diagnose for someone and solve their problems, I believe that the goal is wrong, because all of that caring and empathy, like I want to solve someone's problem, and all of that is the backing for it. But it's not what I lead with. I'm not even thinking about, to your point earlier, like, oh, I should be a real person, or I should care, or I should be kind. I'm like, my goal is to help them.
Yes,
and all of that falls
suit.
suit.
You have to be intentional in those things, because you cannot help somebody if you lack empathy, caring, and
I agree.
You can't. So those are actually the guardrails in the map to doing that. So if I have empathy and I'm a human and I care, and I realize that I can't help you, I tell you that, I don't sell you that. So I've earned your trust that I'm the guy. But if I genuinely can solve it for you, and I'm a real person, I'm empathetic, and I care, then I can't diagnose something that you shouldn't have, unless it's my ignorance, and that's an outlier, and that happens in every situation.
So I have a question, and I'm going to go on a tiny devil's advocate, maybe. Care about what?
The other person. So when you talk,
what do you mean? Define it more.
So if you're coming to me, I care about you. So you talked about trust, and you used that thing about the trust that they can do it. I thought you were going to say, the trust isn't that I believe you, but I also trust that you have my best interest at heart.
Right.
That's the piece, right? And you can't get someone to believe that you have their best interest at heart unless you can show empathy, you can show care and kindness. Hello, Snowflake.
Snowball.
Right?
That's Snowball.
And I don't even know if he's in the thing. So,
yeah, that's okay.
And if you're not a human. So you literally can't do that. Show them or demonstrate that you have their best interest at heart unless you have those three things.
Okay, so here's the thing, the devil's advocate piece of this. I have met doctors that are extremely skilled that don't care about other people.
Okay, so they're not as good, and it's already been proven.
But and I agree with you, it's better. And in my opinion, it's usually table stakes that I would want to solve someone's problem, you know, of like that I naturally care, that I'm kind.
But it's not table stakes. I think that's where we're getting confused. I like these discussions better rather than the monologues.
You know.
But it's not table stakes, because most salespeople in our profession, which we talked about last night, don't care. Literally, you saw all the hands that didn't go up when I said, how many of you were taught in your training at work and understood that your job is to help, and now put there, like, what is it? And they go, sell.
Yeah.
So it's not table stakes. So the fact that you're saying all of this is actually hopefully changing the way people think about selling, because it's not table stakes.
Yeah.
But do you feel it's about the training, or do you feel it's because we incentivize people on the volume, the quota, and yeah?
So this is why I'm saying the devil's advocate, is because I believe that being able to diagnose will help you sell better. I don't believe that you have to be kind necessarily to do that. And I'll give you an example. I have an accountant. He's amazing. Tells me all kinds of things that I don't know about accounting. It's not hard. I don't know very much. What do I know about Gary? Nothing. I don't know if he's married. I don't know if he has kids. I don't know if he's nice. I don't know if he's not.
He's your accountant.
Yes, I hired him.
He's selling you.
Yeah, right. So that's what I'm saying. I, as a buyer, it didn't matter to me whether.
He knows all about you.
Right.
So he's kind.
I don't know.
But the mere fact that he knows all about me, whether you acknowledge it or not,
he
knows
the
impression that he's kind.
He knows about my taxes and my accounting and all of that stuff. But like, does he know about me personally? No.
But that's not kind.
Does it matter to me? No. So I don't think necessarily.
Let me ask you this question: do you believe that if he saw extra money sitting around, or he saw money going through, that he would take the money, or he would give you poor advice to his advantage, or do anything? Do you believe he would do that?
I think that's not kind, but no, I believe he would take care of me, but I don't believe that's being kind.
Okay, so we're getting stuck on the
I
definition.
think I think that's like.
I think we can sum it up to treat others the way you want to be treated, no? In general.
Well, here's the other thing.
Then
I gotta throw one more thing in here. Even if I care about someone, and even if I'm super kind to them, and even if I'm empathetic and I feel like I understand them, and even if I'm telling the truth, it does not mean I'm skilled.
No, it doesn't.
And so my problem is I don't see many people talking about the how to be skilled part in knowing your buyer. And I see instead most of them talking about the former. And I'm like, this is an important conversation. I don't believe that you can speak it into someone's being. I think that you're naturally there or you're not. Like, meaning someone doesn't say, be kind, G, and you're like, oh, okay, well, how do I, like, I don't think you can speak into someone's being. The problem I have for it is just because I want to help someone doesn't mean that I can. Just because I care enough about someone that just because, let's say Snowball was sick, and I wanted to help her to get better doesn't mean I can. I can't diagnose what's going on in her body.
Okay, so understood. So I think reason we got here is your question made it binary. So
Yeah.
I'm not looking at it a binary way.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it as you asked the question, is this stuff important? And I said, you can't, even
Yeah.
if you have the skill, you can't deliver on that skill if you are not kind, empathetic, and human. You can't do it. Right?
I've
Because
seen
it gets
some
in the way.
asshole doctors be able to diagnose just fine.
Yeah, but the doctor's job isn't just to diagnose, and they've already proven this. I'm going to pull it back. A study showed that the doctors with the worst bedside manner are sued at a 10x. I'm going to butcher the number because I'm not that back, but are sued for malpractice at a 10x higher rate. And those who actually have great bedside manner, who actually make the same mistake, are not sued.
I think, and I heard you mention that. I don't think that proves that they're better. I think that proves that people want to sue them more because they weren't as nice.
Yes, but the point in that thing though is that the ability for them to recover from a mistake or get people to trust them comes from being kind. And now there isn't a study. Well, now I want to go look this up. That shows that they're more prone to make mistakes because they are, and I'm willing to bet they are. I'm willing to bet they're more prone to make mistakes because they're not willing to spend more. Your mom's knee.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think that's a perfect anecdote for not caring enough.
Caring to ask enough
Yes, there
questions.
you go. I know, I'm the expert. I know what I'm doing. You just do what I tell you to do.
Maybe.
So there's the flip side. Caring allows you to
Maybe.
be open to the other person's perspective.
Okay, so the other half of this, no, I
Give me some love, G.
No, I agree that part about like caring is allowing to be open to.
but I don't know in that room that day if he didn't ask the right questions because he didn't know the right questions to ask, or he didn't ask the right questions because he just wanted to speed through.
You're missing the point. It's not about his questions. It's he didn't listen to your mom. He didn't have to ask a question. She said, look, I don't think it's right. Please do an MRI. No. That's lack of caring. 100%.
I don't. If
he
let's say, she was
gonna die
saying,
on this file.
no, because my mom came in and I thought about this a lot, saying I want an MRI.
Yeah.
She's not the expert. So he may have been challenging with his own logic. I don't think I'm the expert. I don't think you need an MRI.
Okay, that's funny is how we think. The first time I wasn't talking about that.
Oh, you're talking about the third
When she
time.
comes back the second or third time. So it's lack of caring that allows you to say, wait a minute here. This woman is experiencing care and pain. And empathy, I mean. This woman is experiencing something. I should stop for a second because I'm giving the exercises. It doesn't work. She keeps telling me this. No, I'm sorry. You will not convince me that he is caring.
I'm surprised. I mean, usually you lean very anti-relationship cell.
I don't think caring is relationship cell. So I saw a great thing, caring and kind. Here's another way of looking at it. Caring isn't telling everybody what they want to hear.
So let me sum up for you relationship selling in my head. Relationship selling to me is selling based on traits of yours. That could be caring, that could be kind, that could be trustworthy, that could be genuine, that could be human, that could be as sympathetic as it's often misused in my opinion. It's selling based on your traits.
Okay, we have different definitions. We should define things, Morocco. To me, selling a relationship is trying to push the relationship first to get them to like you and think you're special or different, and that you are a different person than the other person that's selling them, and to use that relationship to get them to buy the product.
Yeah.
That's relationship selling to me.
Yeah.
Okay? So I don't relationship sell because if someone doesn't like me out of the box, I don't care. Right? I don't care. So using your definition, I can see how you got to where you got.
Yeah. Well, I don't know where we're gonna go in this.
Well, we don't have to solve it.
Well,
you can listen to Becc, or you can listen to me.
No. Well, I think we're conflating a number of topics here. But to me, relationship selling is based on the relationship that you have with one another. So
as the lead.
Huh?
As the lead.
Yes, as the focus.
Yeah. Okay, we're on the same page. Don't do that.
As the focus of like, and again, what scares me is that it's talked about. So it's talked about and it's talked about so often.
We agree there.
That I'm like, what should be talked about, in my opinion, is the skills that you need to be a seller. So to do that, number one is knowing your buyer.
Yep.
Number two is knowing how to diagnose. I'm like, pound. Number three, like
understanding the root causes.
Right. Understanding how to diagnose, prognose, understand impacts that they don't know about. So, like being an industry expert, a buyer expert, and being able to diagnose based on that. And I'm like, in my opinion, and some people have said to me like, oh, I've gotten somewhat of a reputation of like, I don't talk about the soft skills. And I'm like, right, because I would hope that you would see like, I'm trying to give everything away for free to help because I care, right? But I'm not the person in the moment that's going to be like, oh, it's, like I'm not a soft person by nature.
Yes, you are.
And so I think, I don't know, the relationship sell, when it's brought up to me, whatever premise you bring up, whether that's, challenger, I want to sell based on challenging them, or solution selling, I'm going to focus on a solution, or pain selling, I'm going to focus on pain, or problem selling, I'm going to focus on the problems. Like, to me, that word of relationship means, and even the word liking, like you break it down to the definition, and it means that you are more alike to them, because statistically speaking, people will they will gravitate towards people who are just like them. And I'm like, there's a number of danger. Yeah, we're super similar. And I'm like, there's a number of dangers in there. So I don't know. Like, to me, if that's what you're focusing on and that's the only thing you're thinking about, you're gonna leave a lot on the table. I don't think people are buying the whole like
enchilada.
How's the wife, how are the kids?
No.
It's relationship sell. So this was Per Diem.
Wait, no, let Guillaume, you wrap it up. After our little discussion, anything you want to add, you wrap it up.
I'll wrap it up.
Oh, title.
No, I think we all agree. I think we all agree on the fact that we should, I think, emphasize more on the skills you need to become a great seller. We all agree that to build real relationship, you need trust, and to build trust, you also need to be a real human. You need to care. You need to, treat others the way you want to be treated. And you need to be empathetic. I think this is also really important because you need to be passionate about the problem you're solving. And when you're passionate about the problem you're solving, you're passionate about your buyers, passionate about what they're experiencing, and you're passionate also about the solution, which is product or service. Mm-hmm. But I do feel, and I agree with what you were saying, Becc, is like we don't emphasize enough on what are the skills you need. Like in full transparency, like I've been in the world of like sales automation, so it's like more the software side for like the last 5 years. I had my agency in the past, and it's only when I met you, Keenan, in like real life in Paris, like it was like a few months ago that I heard about gap selling and about like all the strategy of the discovery, why you should focus on the problem first, then, impact, etc., root cause. And I think like it's the fact that even myself, and I don't consider myself like a sales expert, I have sales knowledge, but I'm not a sales expert. I think it's
smarter.
It's
way smarter.
I think it's not well taught in the current world. So I think it's an interesting topic, and I think it's important to discuss it.
I do want to say one last thing. I knew that you were nice from online. I knew that you were nice, but that's not what stood out to me. Like, that's what started this was you knew a fact about me, and then you sent me a water bottle for my dog, and I'm like, this guy's really nice.
It's authentic.
Right. But
Yes.
that's not why I was like, he has to be on the tour. I said he has to be on the tour because of skill. Now, the leading was water bottle. I was like, that's really nice. But then as I read your post, I was like, his opinions are really different and sharp. And so I, like, to your point, in practice, it's like, okay, that may be the start of it. But I think if, for instance, if I'd read your posts and they'd been
was
like,
shit. Yeah,
and
of
it's all
course.
about mindset,
Yeah.
you know.
But again, you have this tendency, which blows my mind. We're so different. We love each other so much. You started this in a very binary way, and then you ended it by trying to conflate the two. I'm agreeing with everything you're saying, but when you ask the question, particularly around empathy and caring, you can't do the
It's
other
people
two.
talk about it all the time. They're like, we'll care about him. I'm like, but my problem is that you don't care enough to study your buyer.
Wait,
So
you
do
didn't-
you care?
Wait, you
You
didn't
sent
let- you didn't let me
sent him.
finish.
You sent him.
Never let me finish.
Yeah.
My point is,
Title.
Yeah,
God,
that's
that
it.
one's a
So
title.
look, my point was, those are the road or the engine to everything you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, now we could do this off camera and debate more on the bus, but I don't think you can genuinely do a good discovery. I don't think you can genuinely understand somebody without empathy.
That's one I throw out because empathy doesn't mean you feel any way about it. It just means you understand them.
Oh
It's
my
a
God.
German term.
Yeah, no, oh my God. So think about what you just said. You understand them. So if without empathy, it doesn't allow you to put yourself into a position to properly understand them. And if I properly don't understand you, then there's absolutely no way I can assess the problem.
So I would throw that one out of the mix. Caring,
All right, we'll go
no,
with that.
caring and being kind have nothing to do with empathy.
Kind, I never said kind. I
Caring-
said caring and being a human.
Yeah, still have nothing to do with empathy. Empathy.
I don't know how you separate them.
Yeah, well, the
Dogs don't have empathy.
actual term means that you can project your feelings onto an inanimate object. It was a German term, and it was a psychological term. And there's two types of empathy. One is you just understand someone why they did something. The other one means you feel.
So how do you do that without being human?
Because one, you don't have to have any feeling towards it. The other one, you do. There's emotional and cognitive. So like if I see someone and they hit their nail with a hammer, and I wince, that's emotional empathy. That means that I've entered in. But there is cognitive empathy of like, I see them wince, and
what?
and I can understand from a cerebral perspective that it probably hurts
Okay, so good. So
based on cues, but I don't feel bad for them.
Okay, so now, I'm going to let you go because now we have to get down to defining humanity, right? Because now it gets to defining humanity. So we'll on that, I will give it to you. You can have it. I watched this thing the other day with Peterson. What's Jordan Peterson?
Jordan Peterson. He's
And-
great.
And he was talking about someone asked him, "Does God exist? Wait, does God exist?" Or something like that. And he said, "Well, you can't ask that question. First, you have to ask the mere fact that you asked the question suggests, was that question even valid? Because then how do you define exist and how do you define you and do you really exist?" And the minute he did that, I think he believed what he was saying, right? I really do because he's a smart man.
Yeah.
But of course, all I wanted to do was jump through the screen because the minute you introduce that type of circular argument,
Yeah.
then I'm like, okay, then your question of do I exist, does that really then beg the question of that question? And then, so now you've created an infinite loop where basically no question has validity. Did you see what I did right
Yeah.
there? So I'm feeling that way where we're getting right now. We're getting down to, what's the definition of humanity? And now we define that, what's the definition? So we have to draw the line somewhere. So we all agree on empathy matters and that you have to have the skill to do it. You have to have the skills in order to do it. We need to focus more on the skills.
Yeah, it wasn't the point of the video, but yes, on a side note, we do.
But that's where we ended up, I think. But yes,
So this was per diem.
it was like per 8 deals.
Why relationship selling doesn't matter, but we ended somehow in empathy.
In triple D.
Triple D.
Triple T.